Let's turn to Lora Ries, Senior Research Fellow at Heritage for Homeland Security and former DHS Acting Deputy Chief of Staff. Lora, good morning.
Good morning, David. Good to be with you.
Well, good to have you here. So let's take a look at this. And it's great to have you because you've been on the inside of this at DHS and looked at the policies, the laws, the executive orders. The stark contrast, which is not present on the debate stage, as I said, in this presidential cycle, but in policy differences, a Trump going forward versus a Joe Biden. Let's start with a Donald Trump, and then we'll look at Joe Biden.
Certainly. So during the 2016 campaign, immigration was absolutely a cornerstone of then candidate Trump's campaign, and for good reason. It's an important issue to so many Americans because it touches so many aspects of our lives, whether it is health, the economy, education, crime, you name it. Immigration is a factor. And so it is surprising to see that it's not been highlighted much in this campaign. But to talk a little bit about some of the differences, starting with the wall, the Trump administration is feverishly continuing to build the wall. They have now built over 380 miles of new wall system, and it looks like they're going to meet their target to build 450 miles by January. In contrast to that, Joe Biden has said if he becomes president, not another foot of wall would be built. And he would shift resources to the ports because he says all the bad stuff is happening at the port, as if the Border Patrol has nothing to deal with in terms of drug smugglers, human smugglers, etc. Another difference would be DACA and amnesty in general. Joe Biden has said that he would reinstate DACA and expand it, and also immediately work with Congress to pursue a general amnesty for the over 11 million illegal immigrants who are currently here.
Can we just address DACA for a moment a little bit more? It was, or my way of putting it, broad prosecutorial discretion applied during the Obama-Biden administration. There are various challenges to it. Is that something that should be challenged again? And what would be the right challenge to that application and that executive order?
It should be challenged, and DHS should continue to rescind it yet again. The Supreme Court decision, 5-4 decision led by Justice Roberts, was not a good decision. It could have been a very short decision because the Supreme Court said the administration was in the right to rescind DACA because it wasn't constitutionally created under President Obama. The Supreme Court decision should have ended there. However, Chief Justice Roberts seemed unwilling to be the one to end the program and argued that they didn't like how DHS rescinded the program and therefore sent it back. So it was a lengthy decision. They gave DHS a roadmap on how to rescind it. So hopefully DHS will rescind it yet again because it is unconstitutional. It is the job of Congress, not the executive branch, to provide lawful permanent residence to immigrants and to give them work authorization.
Well, we'll see what happens, but now let's pivot to Joe Biden a little bit more. Going forward in a Biden-Harris administration, what do you think would be some of the more dangerous decisions to our immigration system? And, not just about the wall and visa overstays, the illegal component of this with illegal aliens and illegal immigration, but also to the system, which, according to reports even by the State Department, was millions when it came to who were in the pipeline to come here legally.
Yeah, so a couple things. If Joe Biden were to become president, he and Kamala Harris have they support sanctuary jurisdiction policies. These are where state and local politicians refused to cooperate with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, in removing criminal aliens from their jails and then just releasing them back out into the communities, where unfortunately too many commit more crimes and hurt Americans when these crimes should not occur, because these people should not be in the country. Instead of ending those policies, if you look at the Biden website, it portrays ICE in similar fashion to the way police are portrayed by a lot of the anti-police groups, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, etc. right now. It focuses on training and overseeing ICE as if the agents were the problem. Joe Biden has also indicated that he would suspend deportations for the first 100 days. That's certainly not going to make Americans more safe if we aren't removing criminal aliens from this country. And another aspect to note is in the area of refugees. When Obama was president, he raised the annual refugee admission ceiling to 110,000 at the height of the Syrian conflict. And the FBI and the intelligence community was very concerned because they weren't able to adequately vet refugee applicants from Syria and neighboring parts of the world. And we know that terrorists use that avenue to get into other countries, and including the U.S. Joe Biden's presidential website says he would raise the refugee ceiling to 125,000 in a year and go up from there. Security and vetting would be seriously compromised if those numbers were imposed. And operationally, it's not even really feasible to get to those sorts of numbers, but we certainly don't want to be sacrificing security to pursue those sorts of numbers.
Is there, I don't know if there's really any way to put a broad umbrella and one phrase over this, but immigration as a principle for the nation should be a merit-based system. There is a need to make sure that people who immigrate to this country add to it financially, otherwise they're able to support themselves. Are we looking at a future where the decision under a Biden-Harris would not be merit-based from legal? There would be the things you've described when it comes to illegal immigrants in this country, the various aspects of it. And what would that do to the economy, including those local economies, elements of that, wage suppression, others in, if you will, the lower rungs of the economic ladder?
So President Trump has talked about moving towards a more merit-based immigration system, as you mentioned. And what that means is, without increasing the overall numbers, which has generally been a little over 1 million green cards issued each year, it changes the ratio within that number. So our current system is about 2/3 green cards for family-based applicants, and the remainder humanitarian and employment-based. And President Trump wants to switch that ratio to make it a majority of employment-based and a minority of the ratio be family-based. And the notion is that Americans and our markets should be choosing the next wave of immigrants rather than having current immigrants choosing the next wave of immigrants. If you look at Joe Biden, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought, Laura.
If you look at Joe Biden's campaign website, he would like to increase all of it. He wants to both increase family-based immigration as well as increase employment-based immigration.